The 623rd edition of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog is giving away $15 million in their Best Ball Mania 5. Sign up today with promo code MMA SGPN to claim your first-time deposit offer of up to $250 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has the best AI picks and projections, and their football models are just about live. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Howdy-ho, DeGenerinos. Welcome to another action-packed episode of the MMA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Episode 623 goes out to Son of Smoke, one of our new friends in the Discord. Came in there to tell us he's a listener for life because we helped him win money last weekend in the UFC, and he's told all his buddies about our show. So this is what everyone's job is out there, all you listeners and viewers. It's your job. You have buddies. You have more buddies than I do, that's for sure. Get your buddies to watch, and at the very least subscribe to our YouTube. All right, thank you. And thank you, Son of Smoke. Welcome to the DeGen family. And hello everyone, I'm Jeff Chalks Fox, and we are back with our second half of our UFC Fight Night Sandhagen versus Nurmagomedov breakdown. Yesterday was all about the prelims. We did 7 prelim fights, action-packed episode, and this one should be just as exciting. We got 6 main card fights and then our fancy dancy plays to wrap everything off. Let's bring in the man who I'll perhaps be battling with on picks. We only battled on one yesterday. Now we'll see how synced up we are today. It's Daniel Gumby Reland. Hello.
And I'll be honest, the one we differed on last time, you seemed a little wishy-washy on.
Yeah, totally. I could totally see that fight going the other way. It's very, very plausible. So, yeah.
So if you're wondering which one that is, feel free to go back and listen to our prelims. You're sure to love that breakdown. And welcome to the main card one. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube. Hit that little button that says subscribe. You can turn off notifications if they bug you. We don't care either way, as long as we have that subscription, much like all of Son of Smoke's friends have already done. Yeah, they're all, every person he's ever met is now subscribed to the show. So you should do the same thing and make us and our bosses happy.
That's why our numbers are through the roof. So, all right. Thoughts on the main card before we dive into it? People love when we do this.
Fun as hell. I mean, we can keep it short. Fun as hell. A lot of fun stylistic matchups. A lot of guys who I've wanted to see with step ups or people in fights that they need to be in. It's a good time.
Yeah. Now we did lose some fights from this card. Javed Basharat, Chris Gutierrez. That probably would have been main card fight. You would have thought maybe not.
I think it was supposed to be the co-main, if I'm being honest, because Shara Bullet got thrown into the co-main,
right.
And they moved nobody else on the card. It shouldn't be the co-main, but I think that was probably co-main or close to it.
The original co-main really was Vicente Luque and Nick Diaz. Ugh. So we lost that fight.
Probably a better card that one's gone.
Then Abdul Karim El Sawadi had to pull out his fight against Guram Kutatiladze. We have an even more exciting fight now. We broke down yesterday with Jordan Vucenic in it. And then, like I said, we have a new, as Gumby said, new co-main event, which means, I think for the first time, we get to see Michał Oleksiejczuk on a fight poster for the UFC. How exciting is that?
Thank God.
About damn time. It's about damn time. All right, before we move on, let me tell you about our boss's show, which of course would be Sports Gambling Podcast, the aforementioned Sports Gambling Podcast. They just launched their 32 NFL team previews, and as a bonus, each team preview will include a code word. Submit 32 code word phrase. You can be the lucky winner who gets a $500 NFL Circa future bet. Hopefully it's not Jeff Fox, you are fired. I guess it's more than 32 words, so subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and the SGPN app, and of course on YouTube. All right, the event is this Saturday, Abu Dhabi. Prelims are at noon. When's the main card? Is it 3 p.m.? I should have checked this, but I didn't. Do you know off the top of your head? 3?
Yes, I think it's 3 or 3:30.
Boy, PFL could never do 7 fights in 3 hours, could they? The prelims start at noon. Man, UFC is going to be pushing the pace. We like that. We're all about fight pace, event pace. All right. Etihad Arena, if you plan on going, Abu Dhabi, Octagon. We're going to kick things off with the opener of the main card, which would be Joel Alvarez. He's from Spain. The Spaniard will be going up against Elves Brener from Brazil. 3 5-minute rounds at lightweight. Yes, somehow Joel Alvarez is a lightweight. Brener, 16-4, 3 knockouts, 11 submissions. What his real last name is?
Oh yeah, it's Brener or Alvarez.
Brener.
Is it
Oliveira? Of course, he's Brazilian.
Okay.
He's got to be Oliveira or Do something. But yes,
De Silva.
Oliveira. Brener, 16-4, 3 knockouts, 11 submissions. He's never been finished any fight. 3-1 in the UFC. 5-1 over his last 6. Did lose his last fight though. That was to Mick Tipik Orabai. No shame there. Used to fight at featherweight, was regional champion, 4 years younger than Alvarez, better striking stats, more active landing strikes, and better grappling stats. He has been outstruck, though, in his UFC career by 0.63 strikes per minute, plus 165. El Fenomeno, not an original nickname we have found. We've come across a bunch of Phenomenos and El Phenomenos. He's 20-3. That would be Alvarez. 3 knockouts, 17 submissions. He's finished everyone. He's been knocked out twice. He owes his rounds, damn it. 5-2 in the UFC. 5-1 over his last 6. Won his last fight via submission. That was back in July of 2023. Missed weight twice at 155, so keep an eye on that. You may want to wait till weigh-ins on Friday to bet this fight. His fighters that miss weight, they only win 42% of the time. If you want more stats like that, go to my Substack, moneymma.substack.com. I have UFC and gambling analytics, a file, all the different stats I track for stuff like that. All right, Alvarez, regional champion, used to fight down at featherweight, which is really unbelievable because he's a monster. So 2013 pro MMA debut, 5 inches of height, 5 inches of reach over Brener. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 0.28 strikes, 90. I usually kick off the main card. I'm going dog. Look at me. Give me Brener plus 165. I'm taking not just dog, a smaller guy too, which is very against what I stand for. Obviously, Brener, the submission skills is what jumps out first, but it's been the power that's come through in the UFC. Before he lost the last bout, he was knocking fools out, which I think bodes well. So I just like his explosiveness. His looks like all around game now at this point. Don't like that Alvarez has been out for over a year, and that it seems to be a tough weight cut for him. So I'm willing to roll a little bit on a powerful younger fighter in Brener. So let's do it.
So I'm going Alvarez. First of all, he hasn't missed weight in over 3 years at this point. Yeah. So like, I think those are kind of, those days are kind of behind him. Also, his only loss in his last 7 fights is Arman Sakarian, which like, that level of competition is pretty high. And, we talked on the last show about how Mark Diakese kind of has a pretty nice wrestling game, and Alvarez not only dealt with his wrestling game, but he submitted Mark Diakese in his last fight. This is another guy coming off of a fight with Mark Diakese, which if you listen to yesterday's show, became somewhat of a joke. Yoel Alvarez, look, I just think he's too big. He's too strong. He's got too much finishing ability. If you watch that Elves Brener fight with Garam Kutateladze, like Kutateladze had him damn near finished for 2 rounds. He dominated the position, and yeah, Brener like pulled it out at the end. But like, I think we have to think about, first of all, is Brener going to be able to stop being in those bad positions early? Because if he's in those bad positions, Alvarez will finish him. And can he, hit somebody who's that much bigger than him regularly enough to get him out of there? And I don't know what the answer is, because it doesn't, like you said, he has some knockouts, right? Like he knocked out Kutateladze, but it's not like some one big hitter quitter. Like he has to like pour it on a guy. And I don't see him doing that against Alvarez. Like Alvarez, yeah, he got finished by Sakarian, but like, again, that was kind of like a cumulative effect. I don't see him getting hit that much. I think he's too dangerous. I'm going Alvarez here.
Look at me taking the risky play and you taking the smart play. Rule reversal again. 6 degrees of Mark Diakese. That's what the episode's going to be called, Gumby.
There you
go.
Everyone
seems to be linked to the man currently. All right. So we're differing right off the bat. That's 2 on the card total that we've differed on. All right. Let's move down to the lowest weight class in the UFC. That would be women's strawweight. Mackenzie Dern, United States. Lupita Godinez, Mexico. Sadly, she's back in Mexico. Godinez, 12-4, 1 knockout, 2 submissions. She owes us some finishes. Never been finished in a fight herself. 7-4 in the UFC. 4-1 of her last 5. Did lose her last fight. Used to fight at flyweight. LFA champion. Regional champion. Better striking stats. More active landing strikes. And better grappling stats than Dern. and she has outstruck her opponents in the UFC by 0.55 strikes per minute, plus 115. Dern, 13-5 with 7 submissions. She's been knocked out once. 8-5 in the UFC. She's lost 2 straight. Before that, she's gone 1-3 over her last 4. Used to fight at flyweight, missed weight 3 times at 115, but that was like Alvarez. That was quite a while ago. She seems to have gotten on track. 1-0 Invicta. 75-25-1 as a pro grappler in period. Multiple time world champion in grappling. 2 inches height, 2 inches reach over Godinez. She's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.78 strikes per minute, minus 122.
This is Lupita Godinez all day.
It is. It's a great line.
I can't believe I'm getting her at this line. She opened for those who are curious at like -150, -155 on some books. And she's been bet all the way into being a dog. And I don't know why. Because like one of the things about this fight is that like we've seen both of them fight Vera Jandiroba, right? And like Lupi held enough of her own on the feet. Obviously, ultimately lost that fight, but like Dern looked completely out of her element on the feet, even with somebody like Vera Jandiroba. And like I think Lupita Godinez fast enough to absolutely blitz and beat up Mackenzie Dern on the feet. Dern's striking is not that good. And then in addition to that, I do think Dern is better at jiu-jitsu, but I don't think she's a better wrestler.
No,
so I think we're looking at a situation where as long as Lupita Godinez decides not to go to the mat, she doesn't have to. And she wins this fight pretty easily on the feet. We've seen Dern kind of struggle with fighters who can enforce her to box for any period of time here. I think Godinez is exactly the type to do that. And I will also give her this. Like, I think if this fight did go to the ground, I think Lupi would stay safe. I don't think she would get subbed by Mackenzie Dern. We watched her go to the ground for 15 minutes. Well, not, they weren't on the ground for the full 15 minutes, but she played with fire with Vera Jandiroba and stayed safe. And she was in a lot worse positions than I think she'll be in this fight. So, like, if Jandiroba, who we've now seen is, probably number 1 in terms of MMA jiu-jitsu in the strawweight division, couldn't sub Lupita Godinez, picking Mackenzie Dern here at favorite money is basically a claim to thinking that she's just going to grind out a decision, which, like, I don't know if that's the best avenue against Lupita Godinez. So, yeah, give me Lupi here. I think she grinds Dern up against the cage. I think she tires her out, and I think her boxing sharper.
Yep, for sure. I agree with all that. Godinez pretty much has all the other than straight jiu-jitsu, which this is not going to be a straight jiu-jitsu fight. She's got all the advantages to her favor, especially on the feet. So yeah, I think this is going to be a nightmare for Mackenzie Dern, and a nice hit for us on a dog. So, all right, speaking of dogs, let's transition to Underdog Fantasy because we're talking about dogs. Underdog Fantasy just launched Underdog Streaks. Hit your first 2 pick'em entries and then go streaking. If you can get an 11-0 run, you can win 1,000 times your money. Plus, Best Ball Mania is live with $15 million in prizes. You now use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Do you have anything for Thursday's slate of anything?
Sure, yeah. If we want to go to Thursday's slate, Seth Lugo's throwing against the Tigers on Thursday night. Tigers offense not blowing anybody away. Seth Lugo been very, very good. They got the higher than / lower than line on his hits allowed set at 5.5. We'll take the lower than hits allowed for Seth Lugo.
All right. Sign up with our code MMA SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code MMA SGPN. And Odds Jam. Odds Jam is your one-stop shop for beating the sports books. Odds Jam uses millions of data points across every U.S. and Canadian sportsbook to show you the best value plays for your money. Their line shopping tool shows you the best price for any bet you want to make across countless sportsbooks, not just DraftKings and FanDuel, but even BetOnline, Bovada, Cut, and many more. Their arbitrage tool will find opportunities where you can bet both sides of the same prop on different sportsbooks to guarantee a positive ROI. Their new fantasy tool features the highest EV plays relative to the sportsbook's odds, allowing you to crush sites like Underdog Fantasy. They even have a tool for finding the best sign-up bonuses. If you're interested in trying out OddsJam, go to oddsjam.com. You can get a 7-day free trial, and with our code SGPN, you get 35% off your first month. So it's oddsjam.com, promo code SGPN. All right, moving on to this. I was going to say, well, this will be a great fight, but no, we got a fight before that. Will not be a great fight. This is a welterweight fight. Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa. Yes, both these guys are still UFC fighters, apparently. I'll tell you about Ferguson first. El Cucoy, 25-10, 12 knockouts, 8 submissions. He's been knocked out twice, submitted 3 times. 15-8 in the UFC. 0-7 over his last 7. He's not won since June of 2019. He's fed at lightweight. Regional champion, 3-0 in the Ultimate Fighter, and the champion of his season. 2008 Pro MMA debut, an inch reach over Chiesa. Better striking stats and twice more active landing strikes than Chiesa. And he's outstruck his opponents in the UFC by 0.53 strikes per minute, plus 475. That number actually has come down a bit. Chiesa, Maverick Mike, 16-7 with 10 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted 5 times, 11-7 in the UFC. He's lost 3 straight. Before that, he won 4 straight. Lost his last fight via submission back in July of 2023. He's not won since January 2021. He's fought at lightweight as well. Missed weight at lightweight before. 4-0 the Ultimate Fighter and the champions. We've got 2 former Ultimate Fighter champions here. 2010 Pro MMA debut. 2 inches height over Ferguson, 3 years younger. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his opponents by 0.17 strikes per minute, minus 520. Obviously, I'm taking Chiesa. I'm not picking Tony Ferguson over anyone at this point, but this is probably the best matchup the UFC could have given him. Chiesa's not going to beat him up, at least. He's a grappler, and he's got a foot out of the sport, at the very least. More than a foot out, probably. So I think it's a safe fight, as in Ferguson hopefully won't get too beat up, but he's not winning. Chiesa's the pick.
Yeah, I think Chiesa has lost 2 of his last 3 times by Bravo choke too, which just happens to be one of Tony Ferguson's. Tony Ferguson's. I'm not taking Tony Ferguson. You can't pick Tony Ferguson at this day and age. Do you know who these 2 won the Ultimate Fighter against? Do you know that these are fun trivia questions?
I can't remember, but they're probably long forgotten fighters at this point.
No, Michael Chiesa lost to or beat Ally Quinta, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Well,
and then Tony Ferguson beat Ramsey Nijum.
Yeah, like I said, long forgotten. They're both long gone, but yes.
Yeah, stripper Ramsey, which was a good time. No, but anyway, back to the breakdown here. Tony Ferguson, he's just a shell of himself at this point. Michael Chiesa should be able to follow enough of what Paddy the Baddy did, right? Like, just stay away from anywhere where Tony's dangerous and pick him apart by being much faster and having much better cardio. And maybe Chiesa's got 1 foot out the door. Maybe he prefers to be a broadcaster. Maybe he should still be just a broadcaster. But at the end of the day, what I saw from him in his last few fights is a lot better than what we saw from Tony Ferguson, which is where he looks like an absolutely broken man who can't keep a pace up, and his grappling game seems to take it a step down. I mean, he's on a 7-fight losing streak, right? And vicious knockouts in there, kind of giving up on submissions, right? Like when he got put in that Nate Diaz submission, he didn't even look like he wanted to get out of it. There was no urgency. I don't know that that's the same here with Chiesa, and I don't know if I'm getting around to, negative 520, but you can't pick Tony Ferguson at this stage.
Nope. No. Would you pick him over anyone in the UFC? Probably not, right?
Let me think about that.
On the spot.
I could think of somebody I'd pick him over
in the same weight class. Obviously, we're talking lightweight or welterweight. We're not talking like a little guy or anything.
Yeah. Give me to the end of the episode. I'll find you somebody I think he can beat.
All right, now Gubby's gonna be off his game because he's gonna be thinking. All right, let's move on. This fight could be a banger. Definitely better than the fight before it. You would think. Oh, who knows? If you like watching old people scrap, old guy fight. This one is a bantamweight fight. So normally you're going to get a good fight here. Marlon Chito Vera from Ecuador versus Deiveson Figueiredo from Brazil, 3-5 in a round, bantamweight. I'll tell you about Chito Vera first. 23-9-1, 8 knockouts, 10 submissions. He's never been finished in a fight. 15-8 in the UFC. Lost over his last 3, 5-2 over his last 7. He's fought at featherweight, 1-0 the Ultimate Fighter. 2010 was his Pro MMA debut. 3 inches height, 2 inches to reach over Figueiredo, 5 years younger. More active landing strikes than Figueiredo, but he has been outstruck in the UFC by 1.17 strikes per minute, plus 130. Decau Deuce de Guerrera, Figgy Smalls, is 23-3-1, 9 knockouts, 9 submissions. He's been knocked out once, submitted once. 12-3-1 in the UFC. A 2-time UFC flyweight champion. So he used to fight down a weight class. He's won 2 straight and 3 of 4. Won his last fight via submission. Did miss weight at flyweight before, but water on the bridge now that he's up a weight class. 2012 Pro MMA debut. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes. He's been outstruck in the UFC by 0.37 strikes per minute, minus 135.
So Darius Flowers is still in the UFC.
That's true. I don't know, though. I don't know.
You would pick Darius Flowers?
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick
Darius
Flowers. I would pick Tony.
We'd probably knock him out.
Darius Flowers?
Yeah, I'm not saying he's good.
I'll take Tony Ferguson over Darius Flowers.
Boy.
I won't take him over Michael Chiesa. I'm going Deiveson. Sorry to derail that.
All right. No, hey, you were looking it up.
I'm going to take Deiveson Figueiredo here. I'm just absolutely blown away by how good he looks at bantamweight. I think this late career move has been really good for him. I also just think in general, like, Cheeto's just too damn hittable. And not just because of the Sean O'Malley fight, but if you look at, the Cory Sandhagen fight or whatever you want to go back and look at for Cheeto, it's just that, like, time and time again, he's been really easily hittable. And whether or not he has the volume advantage here against Deiveson Figueiredo, I don't think will matter, because if it comes down to a judge's decision, and I think there's a good chance it does because Cheeto's super durable, it's like, what punches are the judges going to remember? What Cheeto did with his soft jab combos, or like the big bomb that Deiveson Figueiredo landed? Because, like, that's the thing about Deiveson. He hits so damn hard. And then in addition to that, you're going to talk about Deiveson Figueiredo probably with a wrestling advantage, probably with a jiu-jitsu advantage here. And I think just like there's too many ways for Figgy to get in on takedowns, for Figgy to, get the impactful moment that the judges remember. And I don't think Cheeto will do enough to sort of overcome that, or, his cumulative damage won't be worth as much as the quick impacts from Deiveson Figueiredo. So yeah, I like Deiveson Figueiredo here. I think he gets it done.
Yeah, Figueiredo's my pick as well. And, Vera is going to punt the first round too. Or he punts most rounds, I guess, until he.
Although Figgy starts slow too.
Yeah, he does too.
Like, we get
a bad first round.
Yeah. It could be, but it shouldn't be.
Yeah, Figueiredo is my pick as well. Dangerous everywhere, well, as is Cheeto, but I have more faith in him now. And looking good at bantamweight. Sometimes changing weight classes does work. More often than not, it doesn't, but sometimes it does. All right, let's move to our co-main event. Shara Magomedov from Russia versus Michał Oleksiejczuk from Poland. 3 5-minute rounds, 185. Oleksiejczuk, Hussar. 19-8 with 1 no contest, 14 knockouts, 1 submission. He's been knocked out once, submitted 6 times. 7-6 with 1 no contest in the UFC. He's lost 2 straight and won 1 of his last 4. Last 3 losses have come via submission. Used to fight at 205, failed a drug test in the past, was a regional champion. Missed weight before at 185. 2014 Pro MMA debut, an inch reach over Magomedov. Better grappling stats. He's outstruck his UFC points by 0.8 strikes per minute. He's at plus 210. Shara Bullet, 13-0 with 11 knockouts. 2-0 in the UFC. Won his last fight via TKO. Was a regional champion. Used to fight at 205 and 170. He's 2 inches taller than Oleksiejczuk. Better striking stats, more active landing strikes. He's outstruck his UFC opponents by 4.15 strikes per minute, minus 250. Shara Bullet is my pick here. Going to be a striking battle. He's going to be a better striker. He's going to swarm Oleksiejczuk. So, I don't know if much more needs to be said here.
No, I think if you look back at Oleksiejczuk, like, what kind of fight does this guy want? There's a reason he's fighting Shara Bullet, right? The reason is because he wants it on the feet. Oleksiejczuk doesn't want a grappling match. His last 3 losses have all come by submission. And most of his recent wins have come by knockout. So, like, you're literally just sticking somebody in the cage with Shara Bullet who wants to box. And that's why he got this fight, right? Other people have been calling out Shara Bullet. They want to fight the guy because they know he has a massive hole in his game, which is his grappling. And you gave him a guy who you knew wouldn't try to grapple him or shouldn't try to grapple him, or maybe should and won't. But, like, Shara Bullet's going to get a chance to stand and bang. Oleksiejczuk is going to probably oblige him in that kind of fight. I think he's going to be way slower. Obviously, I think he hits quite a bit less hard than Shara Bullet does. I'm going to go with Shara Bullet. Again, with a guy with holes in his game like this, I'm not sure I love the negative 250 on its own. It seems like he needs to be tested in some places before I rush out there. Because who knows? Oleksiejczuk could just wrestle him, but I just don't think he will. So my official pick, Shara Bullet, and I'm cautiously on that money line.
Yep, I hear you there. All right, main event. We're at the main event, ladies and gentlemen. Bantamweight, so that is fun. We always like it when it's not a middleweight. Main event. Cory Sandhagen, United States versus Umar Nurmagomedov from Russia. 5-minute rounds, 135. Magomedov probably hoping it doesn't go that far, though. We'll tell you about Sandhagen first. The Sandman, 17-4, 7 knockouts, 3 submissions. He's been submitted once, 10-3 in the UFC. He's won 3 straight and 5 of his last 7. has not lost since October 2021. He's fed at featherweight, regional champion, 3-inch height, 1-inch reach over Nurmagomedov, more active landing strikes. He has outstruck his UFC opponents by 1.93 strikes per minute, plus 265. Young Eagle Nurmagomedov, Habib's cousin, 17-0, 2 knockouts, 7 submissions. He's 5-0 in the UFC. He's fed at featherweight, regional champion, 2-0 in PFL. He's a 2-time Sambo world champion, 4 years younger than Sandhagen. Better striking stats, better grappling stats, has outstruck his UFC opponents by 4.19 strikes per minute, minus 300. You get to finish off in the main event, Gubby.
Went with the big dog in the main event last week. Going with a big dog again in the main event this week. I'm taking Cory Sandhagen. Look, Cory Sandhagen has been in there with the best in this division. And first of all, not only look good against the best in this division. nice song intro for me there.
Sorry. That was nice.
I'm picking Cory Sandhagen. Dun, dun, dun.
It's a dog video. Okay.
Oh, cool. Yeah. That makes sense. Underdog video. Yeah. Cory Sandhagen, again, has looked really good against top flight competition in this division. He's not only looked good against the Piotr Jans and the TJ Dillashaw's and the beatdown he put on Song Yadong, like all of those things hold up. But the best part of it for me is that his takedown defense held up in a lot of those fights, right? Like he technically lost that fight to TJ Dillashaw, although I scored it in his favor. TJ Dillashaw was 2 of 19 on takedowns. And even if you think that's like a busted version of TJ Dillashaw, which he probably wasn't even all that busted at that point, he's still a high level wrestler. Like he's always been really good at wrestling. He went 2 of 19. And a lot of that is not just Cory Sandhagen's takedown defense, but it's just how crafty he is with his footwork. Like his footwork is very hard for people to follow. It's very hard for people to track down. Like he is a guy who's difficult to figure out how to get down, corner up against the fence, all of those types of things. So I really like that against Umar Nurmagomedov. And then on top of that, I like him at the deep of this goes into fights. This has been a guy who has gone deep with all of those aforementioned names, the Piotr Jans. He's been into championship rounds with Song Yadong. He's been into championship rounds with TJ Dillashaw. Umar Nurmagomedov has never fought more than 3 rounds. He doesn't know what it's like to fight a high-level opponent into the late parts of fights. And I know we're talking about Nurmagomedov, and everybody's like, oh, then he can definitely wrestle. He's Habib's cousin or whatever. The guy was 1 of 5 taking down Brian Kelleher. And, like, I like Brian Kelleher, but, like, nobody here is sitting here telling you that Brian Kelleher is some amazing takedown defense or is his footwork tough to deal with or anything like that. I think Nurmagomedov is going to have more trouble taking down Cory Sandhagen than people think. And I think as this gets into deep waters, Cory Sandhagen takes over.
I am going with you. Sandhagen's my pick as well. You're talking about deep waters. I think he's gonna be the one dragging Nurmagomedov into uncharted territory in deep waters. Not the other way around for sure. Like you said, experience is on Sandhagen's side. 5-round fights is on Sandhagen's side. He's just a super tough out, and I have more faith in him. Who he's fought, more faith in his striking than Nurmagomedov. And as you said, his grappling is pretty damn good as well. So let's go with the big dog. Let's swing for the fences and try to get Sandhagen over the line here. This seems to be the spot where they're calling this a title eliminator. It seems to be the spot that he gets tripped up on always, though. So hopefully,
I don't know. He's been in title fights, though, right? He was in the
interim title fight.
Yeah.
Which is the same as this, basically. Really.
Man, he took was it Chito Vera he took into a 5-round fight, too, and just beat the snot out of him?
Sounds right.
Yeah.
That's what he does to people. That's what he does to people.
And that's, I mean, like, you put the names Chito Vera and Piotr Jan and TJ Dillashaw and Song Yadong up there, and then on the other side, what are we stacking that against with Umar Nurmagomedov? So, you know, like it's just it's the resume piece, but also like what did it look? I mean, Umar didn't even really look great when he was pushed by that guy on short notice. What was that?
I don't remember his name.
Dekza or what something? Yeah, like who fought one time in the UFC and I haven't seen since. Like, I don't know that he goes deep. So,
yep. All right, let's recap, but don't go away. We got more picks for you. Sandhagen, we're both in on Shara Magomedov, both in on Figueiredo, both in on Chiesa, both in on Godinez. We different on one again. Alvarez, I got Brener. All right, before we move into our fancy plays, though, let me tell you about Rhythm. If you're not checking out the AI picks and props from Rhythm, you're missing out. They just predicted a bunch of winners for the 3M Open, and the football models are about to drop. You You even customize your own betting models easily using Rhythm's tools. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Circa Sports is back with Circa Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. Imagine the regret you'll feel if you win your Office Survivor pool but didn't enter the Circa Survivor. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out. You can hang with our bosses, Ryan and Sean, tell them how great Gumby and Chalks are, and enjoy some of the open bar events of the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. Use promo code SGP15 to save 15% on your hotel for sign-up weekend. Sign up in person at Circa Sports between now and September 7th and use a proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com. Save you $50 with promo code SGP. All right, so we gave you all our straight-up plays. Now it's time for the fancy plays. That'll be locks, that'll be dogs, that'll be props, that'll be Hungry Man Jong Superfan Parlay. We're going to let Gumby go first this week with his lock.
I'm going to go Shamil Gadzhiev. I know it's a little bit of a steeper line, negative 225. We talked about it on yesterday's show. I just think this is a bounce back spot for a guy they like in Gadzhiev against Don'Tale Mayes. Yeah, he couldn't deal with the length and the reach and the boxing of Yair Zinho Rosenstrike, or the pace for that matter. Don'Tale Mayes has got, I mean, maybe the length part of that, but none of the other parts. So, yeah, give me Gadzhiev here as my lock of the week.
All right. I can't believe I'm doing this. Give me Sadikris Dumas. I don't know if he's a guy you can count on, but he's my lock regardless. He's got a good matchup. If you want to hear, he's minus 210, so almost as chalky as Gumby. If you want to hear why, go back to yesterday's episode.
For my dog of the week, I'm going to go Sam Page Hughes. I really like the fact that I think she can just grind out Dudakova. Dudakova's been taking down a bunch in her career. So the fact that you're getting Hughes plus 140, and I actually bet the money comes in on the other side too. You might be able to get her better by fight time. Give me Sam Hughes.
All right. And I have Lupita Godinez. We just marveled at the line we're getting on here. The fact we're getting her as an underdog. It's not a crazy line, plus 115, but I think she's a superior fighter, as we just told you a few minutes ago.
I agree with you on that one. And then for my last one, I bounced around on a bunch of these. I had a couple of different picks that I like, but I'm going to go with Joel Alvarez. I'm going to take his inside the distance prop. He's never won a fight that's gone to decision in his whole life. So, he's a finisher. He's a guy who gets in there and gets it done. His inside the distance prop is plus 100 right now. So you're taking a guy who's a 2-1 favorite. You're turning it around and getting dog money on him. And I think that's probably the only way he wins this fight. So, yeah, give me Alvarez inside the distance.
All right. For me, Deiveson Figueiredo decision, plus 105. Vera does not get finished. Both these guys are slow starters. I see this. And they're both of them pretty much are used to fighting exclusively 5-round main event fights. Yeah. So I can see this one getting dragged up to the final bell. I
like that one a lot.
All right. Thank you. Gadzhiev Dumas, locks. He didn't compliment my Dumas pick, but how?
No, I shook my head a little bit at that one. That one doesn't make me feel good at all. That is not a lock.
Hughes Godinez as my dogs. Alvarez inside the distance. Figueiredo decision. All right. Hungry Man Jong Superfan Parlay. We got to hit one, Gumby.
I've been hitting a lot of pieces. Been hitting a lot of pieces.
You have, yeah.
Always feel free to play these not parlayed together because that always probably pays better at the end of the day. I'm going to start with Jai Herbert in his fight on the prelims. For those of you who didn't hear yesterday's breakdown, I really like Jai Herbert versus Rolando Bedoya. Bedoya slows way down in the second and third round. Herbert is a guy who has shown really good KO power. So I like Herbert by KO. That's coming in at plus 400. And then I'm going to pair that with Kawhi Fernandez. I mentioned on yesterday's show, he's fighting Muhammad Yahya, who I think is atrocious on the mat. And Fernandez, kind of held his own in there with Mark Diakese in his last fight. He's got good back takes. He's got some submissions on his record back in the day. His submission prop, you could get the 4-1 favorite Fernandez's submission at plus 240. So that's a pretty nice turnaround there. And if you pair that 400 and that 240 together, you're going to get 16-1.
See how it all comes back to Mark Diakese again? 6 degrees.
Always Mark Diakese.
It's not even 6 degrees. I'm changing my lock, by the way. Not
this has never happened in the history of the show. 623 picks. I laughed at you picking Cedric.
It's gonna bite me in the ass, too.
And you gotta walk it back because you're like, he does.
No, I prefer this one anyhow. Better line too. Herbert Herbert's a much better lock at a much better line, -135. Gummy just explained why. He was one I was going to take originally, and then I don't know why I moved off it. So yes, come on, Dumas doesn't deserve my lock money. Come on.
I mean, we broke it down on the last show for those of you who missed it, and talking about how he's kind of sketchy in that spot, and I don't really like the number. And then you came in, you hit me with the lock there, and I was like,
Plus, I realized I have to do write-ups on these, and like, can I really justify that? No, I can't. So let's pick one I can at least write it up and make it seem like it's reasonable. So, and the Herbert knockout Fernandez submission plus 1,600. Boom. All right, we're out of your ears and eyes for a few days. We'll be back Sunday with probably more regional stuff. We got a full slate of regional next week. I haven't taken a peek yet. I assume we're gonna have plenty to talk about as we usually do, right?
It's not a great regional slate next week. I know we're going to be talking about Invicta for sure.
Right.
They've got an event going on next Friday. I think I saw. Oh man, I'm trying. Oh, I remembered thinking we might have to do Babylon MMA, which I know they always come out with odds on. Look, it's a little thinner next week. I'm going to be straight with you.
We'll figure it out.
And next week's UFC card ain't cute either. So
no. Well, we will figure it out. Even if we have to do a recap, people like recaps. We could always do a recap on Sunday as well, because this is kind of a bigger event. We just covered anyhow. We shall see we shall play it by ear. In the meantime, you can tell us what you want us to do. Hey, you're the bosses. You want to tell us what to do? You can get in the Discord and you suggest things there. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Discord, or of course on YouTube. I don't think I need to persuade people to comment on YouTube, but you can do that as well. MMA Gambling Podcast. At the very least, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Twitter, you can contact us there too. Like I said, I don't need to persuade people to contact people on Twitter, but we're SGPN MMA. I'm Jeff Fox Writer. He's Gumby Vreeland. I'm Jeff Fox Writer on Instagram as well. I have a Substack. Speaking of subscribing, you should subscribe to that, at least to the free tier, and that way you can get into my free pick'em contest I run every week for the UFC, and you can win real prizes. So check that out, moneymma.substack.com. Gumby's got Top Turtle MMA podcast. He's going to tell you who's on it this week.
We're talking with Lupita Godinez, who we just talked about on this here show, and Joey Hart, who is an exciting prospect, going to be on Contender Series.
Part of the famed Hart family out of Calgary, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that. His nickname is the Hitman. Joey the Hitman Hart.
Perfecto. Told you all that. sportsgamblingpodcast.com, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/store, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. Gumby can bid you farewell now.
All right, I'm Jada Gumby Freeland. He's Jeff El Kukui Fox, and we will see you on Sunday.